Okay. May I have a motion for the facility item H1, Comprehensive Maintenance Plan for fiscal years 2016 through 2018?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Shaw,
Second.
second by Mr. Philipsak. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. May I please have a motion for financial services items I-1 through I-16? No, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm not sorry. I-1 through I-16.
So moved.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Philipsak, second by Dr. Cohen. Is there any discussion on items I-1 through I-16? All those in favor? Oh, it's a roll call vote.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mrs. Chu?
Yes.
Dr. Cohen?
Yes.
Mrs. Lax?
Yes.
Mr. Philipchak?
Yes.
Mrs. Reese?
Yes.
Mrs. Shaw?
Yes.
Mrs. Becker?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. May I have a motion for I-17, contract with Russell Marketing Research Incorporated?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Shaw.
Second.
Second by Mr. Philipsak. Is there any discussion?
So I'd like to make a comment on it. Thank you to the staff for getting this on the agenda tonight. As a board, we recognize the value of the diversity of this community, and the survey on the school calendar will help us solicit input into the development of the calendar. And we really appreciate everybody's participation into the survey when it comes out. Do we have a time frame yet?
We will get one from the company once we execute the contract. And then we'll do a variety of Blackboard Connect messages to the community to kind of preview that it's coming, so we can make people aware that we need their input, and their input's very important.
Yeah, and it'll, to make it valuable, we need to get the maximum response. So there'll be measures in place to make sure families can respond only once. You can't go in and vote 10 times as much as you might like to. So there'll be measures in place, but please, people have to participate for this to really be meaningful.
Thank you, Mrs. Chu. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. May I have a motion for item I-18, contract with Tyler Technologies?
So moved.
Moved by Mrs. Shaw, second by Mr. Philipsak. Is there any discussion?
I just wondered if we could get a little information regarding the overhaul of Versatrans that we did in the previous school year, and what the cost of that, what was the cost of that a year ago, and just trying to figure out whether the $7,000 that they want from us now is really a fair amount.
Well, I don't have the cost off the top of my head on last year's process, but last year's process was basically, we engaged the company to come in and help us rebuild the system and provide guidance on the areas where we were not utilizing the system well. They did training, they provided some oversight, but basically the ball came back to us to move forward with the changes and improvements that were to be made in the system. I've asked the company to give us a proposal because I'd like for them to check the work that was done. This is now to validate, did our folks follow through? How well did they do with making the improvements and the changes within the system that were supposed to have been made? So this is kind of an audit, if you will.
Okay. All right.
Quick question. I understand that this is actually an estimated cost. Do we have a high or low? That, in other words, let's just say, I understand this time, it's hard to determine if you ran into a problem, how long it would really cost.
This is a good ballpark. Good ballpark.
So in other words, no matter how long it would take, if we would come back for that, no higher than this?
I think it's going to be right in that range. It may be slightly higher or lower, but I don't think it would be more than, a couple $100.
Is there a cap that we would normally have?
Well-
You wouldn't accept one tripled, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And this is, this is not just providing, free will for the company to come in and, do whatever. There's going to be communication. It's a 3-day project that we're expecting, so I'm anticipating it may even be less than this.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion?
Guys make comments.
Well, okay.
So I just wanted to reaffirm for the board and the public that this is all tied to the strategic planning effort in building efficiencies in our transportation system so we can make sure that we're utilizing our resources appropriately, and are there any options to adjust schedules. And that's ultimately what we're trying to look at. Each of these components that we're talking about relates to a bigger piece of the puzzle, which is, can we do anything with our start times and not affect anything else in the county? So that's what we're looking at. The community had that as an issue that they wanted to be investigated, and so we're making every effort to break down everything that we do to find out first, can we do it better, can we do it more efficiently, and then what components do we need to figure out and add to that to come up with a final product.
Thank you, Dr. Valesky, and actually you brought up a very good point. I think that a lot of things come up in the agendas that are the result of the feedback we received from the strategic planning night with the community.
Correct.
And I think if it wouldn't be a problem, if those items could be flagged, and we could make a point of letting the public know, so that as much as we say we are working on it and it's part of our strategic planning, I'd like them to know that we are doing something about it. So just even if we miss a couple, it's okay, but just an idea.
So
That's a good idea.
To that end, I-17, the last item, was also an issue that was raised in the strategic
Right.
planning process.
So if you look under the homepage of the website, under my introduction from the district, there is a template of board priorities for strategic planning. And we can cross-reference that as we go through future agendas and say, that these are priorities we're working
That
on.
would be great. Thank you so much. Okay, what do we do here? Do we discuss this?
You had a discussion, you need a vote.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Okay, human resources.
No, I-19.
I-19. Oh, God, I'm so sorry. I'm looking at two different agendas. Okay, I-19. Can I please have a motion for a contract with Statistical Forecasting, LLC?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Cohen, seconded by Mr. Philip Sack. Any discussion? Mrs. Shaw?
My question is similar to that which I had regarding Tyler Technologies, because this is based on a demographic study done in August of 2014, and to my knowledge, we've really done very limited movement based on that 2014 study, and now we need to spend another $20,500 in an effort to be able to utilize the information that we gathered 2 years ago. I mean, I really find it difficult to believe that our demographics are changing that rapidly that we would really need to have a new study.
Mrs. Shaw, if I could, it's not a new study, it's an update to the study
Right.
that we had before, but we wanted to, in talking to Dr. Griff, who did a presentation for the board, I guess almost 2 years ago now, we wanted to update that information and make sure that we're basing other decisions on the most valid and reliable information, because we want to make sure that the attendance boundaries.
Well, I mean, I think that's, critical information for us to have as well, but I
Right.
just feel that these companies are, getting a fairly large amount of money to do the initial study, and then for us to be able to act on it, now we need to shell out another $20,000 in an effort to be able to effectively utilize the information.
I look at this as a next step, and there's a lot more. I think the value here is in helping us figure out what the attendance boundaries, the appropriate attendance boundaries are for each of our 8 elementary schools, so we can balance that population. So that's where I see the value in this next step, not so much in the reaffirmation of the demographic data. I think that's a small component of this cost. It's the next step that we did not take in the initial study. And this, again, is part of strategic planning, part of the strategic planning effort.
Oh, I understand that.
But I understand your concern, but I think the
Yeah,
value is in
I just feel
the
like,
next
you know,
step.
we have, under many different circumstances, hired different consultants and employed, you know, different companies in order to give us information, and it costs a great deal of money, and then for us to, you know, a year or two later, have to put out even more money in an effort to utilize that information, I think it's tough to accept.
Okay. I understand.
Dr. Cohen had his hand. Dr. Cohen?
Right, I just wanted to sort of ditto what you said. I think part of the problem was that we didn't act immediately on the information that was given to us. Had we been at the point we are now, we probably would have looked back at that original study and that original report and said that it was incomplete at that time for the information we needed to make anything actionable. And as a result, now we're going back 2 years later and asking them to update it with the information they probably should have given us at that time. And we're paying for it.
Mr. Phillips?
I don't see a time frame for completion on the contract. Is there a time frame for completion?
I believe we're talking about sometime early in the next calendar year.
Okay, so we'll have it in,
I don't want to commit to an absolute date without talking to Dr. Grip,
okay.
but it's something we need to have in order to make actionable decisions on
But then-
for the next school year.
When we get it, it'll be current and we'll be able to act on it. Well, it won't be another year, 2 years out again?
No, it will be for this year. It will be presented during this school year
Okay.
with recommendation for action items this school year to be implemented for September.
Thank you.
Just,
Yes.
I'm assuming that when they look at this, they're going to be looking at the information that we need to make the decisions that we're talking about regarding boundaries and districts.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because that data that they gave us on shifts in demographics is all based on generally census data.
Right.
And they had 2000 and they had 2010. Since we don't know 2020, we shouldn't be paying for something that they really can't give us any more information than what they had 2 years ago.
Right, but this is also to help us draw boundaries and to be able to then tie that into our transportation management system. So when new boundaries are proposed, we can establish new bus routing and figure out what that
I know
efficiency
that.
is.
Just don't want to hear about the different age groups and all that stuff, which hasn't changed in 2 years because they don't have new data.
Right.
And pay for that.
Right.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstain? Motion carried.